Hey everyone, Josh here. Now, we talk a lot about curiosity on this show, but if you've ever been curious about the show itself, we've got a great event for you. On Monday, April 20th, Brave Little State is headed to Northern Stage in White River Junction to give fans a behind-the-scenes look at how we answer your most pressing and peculiar questions about Vermont. We'll break down how we made some of our all-time favorite episodes, we'll take your questions, and we'll even share some bloopers. Maybe. Again, that's on Monday, April 20th. Doors open at 6. Reserve your ticket now at vermontpublic.org/events. See you there.
From Vermont Public and the NPR Network, this is Brave Little State. I'm Burgess Brown.
And I'm Michaela Lafrac. And actually, Burgess, this is Storage Wars.
This is the Wild
Michaela, what is happening?
Sorry. But this episode is going to be all about the self-storage industry. And so I'm kind of trying to hook people by being like, oh, we're on Storage Wars.
You're talking about the reality TV show where people bid on abandoned storage units?
Yeah, exactly. Storage Wars is filmed in California, but self-storage is a massive industry everywhere. 1 in 3 Americans rents a storage unit, Burgess.
Okay, Michaela, I trust you that somehow this relates back to Brave Little State.
Yes, we got a question from a listener named Chris Robbins in Middlebury. Here you go.
What's going on with all these storage units that keep popping up everywhere? Who uses them and why?
Chris says she sees these self-storage buildings all over Addison County, where she lives.
There are 3 in Middlebury. I live in Middlebury. 2 in New Haven. One is huge. It even has waiting lists for their mini storage, their commercial, and their vehicle storage.
She's also noticed 2 in Bristol, 3 in Virgins, and 2 in Brandon.
One of the ones in Brandon is called Too Much Stuff.
Too much stuff. And waiting lists. Wow. Okay.
I know.
So that does sound like a lot. Does she have any theories?
Yeah, she does. So she has actually used storage units herself a couple of times. She and her husband, they moved here from Minnesota, and they were living in an apartment right when they first moved here, and they rented a storage unit when they were looking for a house. And she also rented one after her mother died.
She had antique furniture and things like that. We had to wait until we decided what to do with all the stuff.
Chris is curious about why the self-storage industry keeps expanding here and across the country. She also wonders about the stories that each of these units might hold. We both want to know what is behind those locks.
Okay, I can kind of sense where this might be going.
Yeah.
And no, we are not going to give you money to bid on a storage unit.
Yes, you are.
No, truly, we are not going to give you. There is no budget. We do not have a storage war budget.
There's a budget. Well, I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of time to marinate on it, discuss the budget, and then I'm going to go full Storage Wars on this thing.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
We'll be right back.
Support for Brave Little State comes from Horsford Nursery, Charlotte, partnering with Vermont schools for 30 years to plant Arbor Day trees. Native trees for your spring plantings available at the nursery opening April 15th. Plant catalog at horsfordnursery.com. And SRH Law, a law firm with a mission dedicated to helping clients create a positive, lasting impact by working to secure our energy future, build more inclusive communities, and advance a values-led economy. Making a difference is their practice. SRHlaw.com.
Welcome back to Brave Little State. While I wait for my Storage Wars budget approval, let's tackle the first part of Chris's question, the business of self-storage. Where do all these storage facilities come from, and why do more keep opening? Nationwide, there are more than 50,000 self-storage facilities. That's more than all Dollar Generals, Subways, and CVS outlets combined. Here's Amy Spear, the president of the Vermont Chamber of Commerce.
Self-storage has become, in a very quiet way, which is another reason why I thought the listener question was so interesting, It's been one of the fastest growing real estate sectors in the country, and the United States has roughly 2.1 billion square feet of storage space.
Amy says people use self-storage during times of transition. And there's a lot of transition happening in Vermont right now. We have a rapidly aging population, which means people are downsizing. We also have one of the tightest housing markets in the country, so people might be moving into smaller homes than they'd like because they can't afford or find a bigger place. So they get a storage unit for the rest of their stuff.
I guess in a nutshell, in many ways, the growth of storage units can tell us a lot about housing and demographics.
I don't have to explain to anyone here about Vermont's housing shortage. Suffice it to say, it's become increasingly difficult to afford a house with a spare room or a garage or a basement to store things. Oftentimes, the more affordable option is to get a storage unit. They rent for an average of $119 a month. And there are a lot of places that want to rent you one. I am in the car driving to... Oh my gosh, I almost missed my turn. I am driving to self-storage unit in Shelburne to see what goes on here. Here we are. We are pulling into Route 7 Climate Storage.
Hi there.
Hi, how are
Come
you?
on in.
Hi, I'm Dave.
Michaela.
Okay, nice to meet you. This
Nice
is
to meet
Lisa.
you.
I'm Lisa. Nice to
Hey,
meet
nice
you.
to meet you. Thank you so much for having me.
So we're a team. We both run this facility together, and we have another facility.
Route 7 Climate Storage is a 363-unit facility run by Dave Anger and Liz Allard. They went into business together about a decade ago. They also run another facility over in Colchester. That one has 660 units. Both locations are doing quite well.
We pretty much usually stay full.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of the older folks are discovering that smaller living is just as good as them big old farmhouses we grew up in. You know, saves on heat, saves on bills.
So is that the kind of house that you grew up in?
Yes. A big old farmhouse, yes.
Lots of stuff.
And I live tiny now. I'm actually a minimalist.
Lisa and Dave's client list isn't just made up of older people who are downsizing. There are growing families whose homes have no extra storage space, outdoorsy folks who store their ski stuff in the summer and grills and kayaks in the winter, contractors with building materials, doctor's offices with patient records, college students with beanbag chairs and bongs and whatever college students own these days.
We got a lot of car enthusiasts in this state. We store the cars. We've had everything from Model A Fords with the rumble seats right up to the brand new stuff.
I had a Mustang that I always kept in the storage units in the winter, and then brought it home in the summer.
But most people I talk to while I'm reporting this story give me the same simple reason for why they spend upwards of $100 a month on a storage unit. They have too much stuff.
I have like restaurant stuff here because I did a renovation during COVID, so I have all my old tables and chairs here that I gotta figure out what to do with.
My son's girlfriend, she rented one. There wasn't enough room for all her stuff and his.
My sister does. Yeah, she's overflowed and she's got too much stuff, so she's got a storage locker to store her stuff. So
My son has a unit here, so
What's your son keeping in there?
just stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff! You know?
Too much stuff means good business for self-storage operators like Dave and Lisa. Dave's part-time, but he's the boss, Lisa says, and she manages the day-to-day. She kind of plays the role of house mother or RA, especially for the UVM students who rent from her.
So I always tell the parents that if your child stays here for the summertime, if they want to come here because we are 24/7 at night or on the weekends and they're not comfortable coming alone, you call me, I'll show up. I don't hover, and it makes it nice for the kids. They feel safer that way.
As you can tell, Lisa has a great personality for this line of work. She does.
I want to take care of people, but at the same time, if you act up with me, you won't be here.
Are you a grandma?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. I will hug you, but I will spank your butt at the same time.
Lisa talks about her clients almost like extended family, no matter what type of transition they're going through. And an increasing number of Vermonters are dealing with a particular type of transition, the loss of housing.
Homelessness in Vermont has increased over the past decade or so. I mean, I don't remember this as a child being like this.
Lisa and Dave have seen people who can't afford permanent shelter rent storage units and then try to live in them. Doing that is unsafe and it's illegal. But if you can't manage rent and your other option is sleeping outside, I can understand the decision. Over in Burlington, the city itself actually rents a storage unit for items found in homeless encampments when city employees clear them out. Burlington's Parks and Rec department declined my request to see this unit, but they say it has tents, sleeping bags, and other personal items in it. If someone wants to retrieve their belongings, they need to contact the police to coordinate. They have 30 days after an encampment is cleared to get their stuff. The storage units around our state contain multitudes, trash and treasure. For Dave, managing them is a perfect gig for his semi-retirement. For Lisa, it's more than that.
I had a different career before this. This turned out to be my calling, was doing this. I like building them, I like running them, I like everything about them. Maybe not when they leave me messes or give attitude, but, you know, you got to take the good with the bad, but we get way more good than we get bad with storage. We really do.
She gestures to one area of the property behind a row of units.
This is like one of the most peaceful places to be. We sit off the main road, so if I go ahead and I can go out and sit in the grass, to me that's my like little zen.
So there probably aren't a lot of folks like Lisa who find their zen at a self-storage unit. But her and Dave's successful businesses show there's a growing local market for self-storage. But aside from that tight housing market and Vermont's aging population, there is another reason for this growth: COVID. In 2020, we suddenly had all this time to clean out our basements. A lot of us up and moved, too. And many people bought new stuff during COVID to pass the time.
RVs, boats, toys, autos, all that. And that has actually increased the demand for storage.
This is Jessie Gilton. She's a New England real estate agent who specializes in self-storage. She's fielding a lot of calls these days about Vermont self-storage opportunities.
There is a lot of interest from outside buyers in Vermont because typically it has been mom and pop driven real estate asset, but there's a lot more institutional buyers that are interested in Vermont.
By institutional buyers, she means big name companies you might recognize, like CubeSmart. Nationally, about 37% of self-storage space is controlled by just 5 companies: Public Storage, Extra Space, CubeSmart, National Storage Affiliates, and U-Haul. A number of cities have voted to restrict the growth of self-storage, including New York, San Francisco, and Miami.
They actually put a moratorium on self-storage units and on car washes. There's so many of them down here.
This is Steve Dupois, who owns Ethan Allen Highway Storage in New Haven, Vermont, with his wife, Marcia. We talk on the phone because he's down in Florida, where he and Marcia winter. The self-storage boom hit parts of Florida hard, and now there's an oversupply.
The city of Cape Coral is talking about extending the moratorium on new car washes and storage units. Many families who live in nearby neighborhoods argue these businesses ruin property values.
Cape Coral resident Aaron Lester says
it's embarrassing for I think it's embarrassing for our infrastructure because there's so many better things we could be using this space for.
There's also not a ton of regulation around this fast-growing industry. Some of the big 5 companies driving this boom have been the subject of consumer protection lawsuits. Earlier this year, New York City sued Extra Space for hiking its prices and essentially swindling customers. Things don't seem quite that dire around here, at least not yet. More than 95% of storage operators here in Vermont are still based locally or in nearby states, according to data from 2020. Though, some of them might spend half the year in Florida. And speaking of snowbirds, Steve caught on to the self-storage trend relatively early. His entree into the storage business was in the early 2000s. It was caused, just like Jesse said, by an RV.
We bought a camper. I didn't want to store it in my yard. I didn't want to put a blue tarp over it. And then as we kind of thought about things, it's like, am I the only person who doesn't want to store their camper in their yard? For the next few years, almost in a row, we were putting up buildings and filling them, putting up buildings and filling them. And we now have 13 buildings with 432 doors. I'm 100% full with a wait list trying to get in.
For decades, Steve ran a tire shop in Middlebury. Now he's semi-retired, like Dave from the Shelburne facility. He doesn't have any employees, basically just keeps the lawn mowed, the snow plowed, and meets clients occasionally. His kids or grandkids help out when he's down south.
You have kids and grandkids, so you interact with lots of different generations. Do you think people just buy more stuff now?
I'm actually thinking of my grandchildren, who range from 15 to 31, that they're not interested in the same stuff, okay, that our generation, even my kids are not interested in the same stuff.
To him, it's not that one generation has more of a stuff problem than another. It's that every generation wants different things than the one that came before them.
So I cleaned out my dad's house roughly 5 years ago this month. My dad passed away. My mom passed away the year before. And there's stuff that we took out of the basement of that house that I remember being there when I was 5 years old. And nobody wanted it. No, there wasn't any value to it. But they hung on to it for the not wanting to throw it away. And that's what happens with some of this stuff, Something to think about, I guess.
I thought about it, and then I thought some more, and I realized no matter what this nice man tells me about the risks of accumulation, I still really, really want to bid on a storage unit. That's coming up.
Support for Brave Little State comes from Sunset Lake Cannabis, serving up sun-grown cannabis products throughout Vermont. The farmers at Sunset Lake Cannabis know cultivating a sustainable community involves supporting independent journalism. Find a retailer near you at sunsetlakecannabis.com. Cannabis use may slow reaction time. Never drive after using. Learn more at letstalkcannabisvt.com.
Welcome back to Brave Little State. I have Burgess Brown here with me. Hey, Burgess.
Hi, Michaela. I'm here with an announcement.
What is it?
I've run your request up the chain of command.
Okay, to the big boss?
To the big boss, all the way to the top. And news has just been brought back down to me.
Yeah.
That your request has been accepted.
Wow.
There is budget after all, and I'm pleased to share with you that you get 100 big ones to bid on a storage unit.
Okay, I could do something with $100.
Probably not, but you can try.
Okay, so my first plan actually was to bid on one of these online. There are a bunch of websites where you can do this with names like Storage Treasures and Locker Fox. But they all have these hidden deposits and fees, and I quickly outdid my $100 budget. Flipping through a copy of 7 Days, though, I find a notice for an in-person auction at a place called Jericho Mini Storage. The owner, David Raphael, is auctioning off 3 of his 265 units.
So at this point, nobody has paid off.
Got it.
So I had told the guy with the 2 units, like, literally you have till Sunday to get it, and I just don't think he can do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
National data from the Self Storage Association indicates that storage operators sell off the contents of about 1 to 3% of their leased units every year. Per Vermont state law, before they can set up an auction, operators have to send multiple notices to the client and advertise the auction 2 weeks in a row in a newspaper.
I'm never going to be made whole on these. I'm between the 3 units, it's almost $3,000 in back payments for 6 months. So I'm never going to get that. So all I want is my unit back so I can re-rent it.
Yeah. On this day, 2 of the units being auctioned off were being rented to a guy in Swanton who's ghosted David. The woman who rented the third passed away. Her daughter in Jericho knows the auction is happening, but opted not to pay the rent or come see the unit. So David cuts the locks.
All right, here we go.
All right. It's filled to the brim with cardboard boxes, but you can't really tell what's in them. One of the others has a bunch of baby supplies in it. A crib, a swing.
So I can tell this guy hasn't used his unit in a while. This door needs to be repaired. So then what I do...
The third is also pretty packed.
This one's pretty full too.
I spot a grandfather clock, but it doesn't look very nice. And there's also a musty, ripped recliner.
Sometimes I open up stuff and I'm like, why are people paying to store, moldy furniture? And it's like, you just feel horrible. If they don't have the money, you wish they would just make a different decision.
About a dozen people show up for the auction. Pretty good for a snowy April Monday at lunchtime. David's brother, John Raphael, is a regular.
It runs in the blood, I guess.
There's also John Tabor, a truck driver whose hobby is reselling antiques and tools on eBay and Etsy.
I'd probably buy 1 out of 1,000 units that I look at. So
John's nephew shows up too, and he brings his son.
He's getting into it, so trying to get him coaxed into it.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It's kind of fun. See what's in there.
It is. Yeah, you never know.
There's a stay-at-home dad with his baby, just looking for something to do.
It's a little thing to do on the side. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So.
Then there's Kevin, who buys and sells coins.
He got a bunch of gold on the last one.
And there's Debbie Fleming, who got hooked on this scene by watching Storage Wars. She loves the hunt.
Now, is this a sealed bid or live auction?
Oh, I don't do the live ones. I only do sealed.
Oh, darn it.
Live stuff's fake.
That's fun.
They're all staged. They're
Google
staged.
any one of those guys.
No, they're not.
None of them have a business.
David opens the lockers. Everyone peers in, but they can't go inside.
There's a refrigerator and there's a mattress.
They write down their bids on a piece of paper. After they go to all 3 units, David collects the papers. The stay-at-home dad wins one of the units. He pays $210 for it. Debbie wins the other 2. She's kind of shocked.
I bid low,
Yeah, you threw out the I don't want it bid.
Right.
You got stuck with it anyways.
That's okay. It'll give us.
She goes to tell her husband, who's waiting in their truck, thinking they were about to leave. He sighs and slowly gets out to go pay David and get the instructions.
So it'll be $275 total. And those are the keys to your 2 units.
I didn't expect to get both of them.
Well, the other...
I don't want it bid.
The stay-at-home dad drives off. He's coming back later, sans baby, to look through his unit. Debbie and her husband pull their truck around to the first unit. It's packed so high with boxes that it's going to take them hours to go through it. It's not until everyone drives off and I see David counting the cash that I remember I have $100 hard-won dollars that I could have used to bid myself. But when the doors rolled up on that first unit, I gotta say, my visions of Storage Wars treasure hunting evaporated. Instead, I just found myself staring at that upside-down crib and the damp mattress and the box of size 1 diapers. The anticipation of the auction was exciting, but when it actually happened, I don't know, I got sad. One of the guys I'm with, John Tabor, says it gets to him too sometimes.
I mean, that's the sad part of it. You got to go through the personal paperwork, the photos, and it's usually a sad story.
It made me start thinking about my own basement, which I'm lucky enough to have. I have my own boxes of baby stuff down there. My daughter's 5. We haven't touched those boxes in years. There's a complicated and personal answer to why I haven't gotten rid of them. The person who owns or owned all this baby stuff in Jericho, they must have had their reasons too. So here we are, human beings lugging objects around like magpies and wood rats. In Vermont, we have more than 160 self-storage facilities already. More are undoubtedly coming our way. We're still a long way from Florida, with its glut of self-storage facilities. But in another 10 years, I'd bet $100 it's going to look a lot different.
Thanks for listening to the show, and thanks to Chris Robbins of Middlebury for the great question. If you have questions about Vermont life, goings-on about town, or local history, ask them at bravelittlestate.org. And follow us in your favorite podcast app to catch new episodes. Also, have you subscribed to our newsletter yet? It's just twice a month, there's no spamming of your inbox, I swear, and it really is the best way to keep up with our latest reporting or fun events we're planning. You can subscribe on our website, bravelittlestate.org. This episode was reported by Michaela Lafrac. Editing and production from the BLS team, that's Sabine Pooks, Josh Crane, and me, Burgess Brown. Our executive producer is Angela Evansy. Theme music by Ty Gibbons, other music by Blue Dot Sessions. Special thanks to Carly Berlin. Brave Little State is a production of Vermont Public and a proud member of the NPR Network. Talk soon.